Hey, I'm Garrett. I'm a grad student and cheerleader at The Ohio State University, and today I'm going to show you what a full day of eating looks like for me. I got practice in about an hour, so let's cook some breakfast. I like to start my morning off with eggs. Not only are they a great source of highly bioavailable protein and healthy fats, but they're also very micronutrient dense. They're rich in phosphorus, calcium, potassium, vitamin A, multiple B vitamins, vitamin D, choline, and all sorts of other good stuff. They're nature's multivitamin, except it's all super bioavailable, meaning that your body can actually use it. Another good thing about eggs is that even though I prefer to cook them low and slow, you can still cook them in like 2 minutes if you're in a time crunch like I am today. I like putting a few of the yolks raw on top as the micronutrients are preserved a little bit better that way, although the protein is more bioavailable when cooked. Serve it up with some berries and you have yourself a meal. I like to have some carbs before practice, but since we're in the off season right now and I know practice isn't going to be super intense, I'd rather save those carbs for later in the day to have them around when I lift. I like to break up the egg yolks and sort of coat my eggs with them. Bon appetit. Delicious. Practice was great. I went to a work meeting after practice. That was great too. I'm gonna go do my cardio now so I have time to recover before I go lift tonight. I don't really have time for a full meal, so this ruck is gonna be fueled by a spoonful of honey. Delicious. If you're curious what rucking is, it's pretty straightforward. I got 70 pounds loaded up in this backpack, and I'm just gonna go walk around at a brisk pace for 45 minutes. It's quite a bit more physically demanding than just walking, and it burns a lot more calories than just walking, but the perceived exertion isn't really that much higher. Anyways, time to hit the road. Back home from my ruck, and I figure now is probably a good time to talk about what my diet is and what my nutritional goals are. So I eat an animal-based diet, however, I do things a little bit differently than most animal-based folks. So traditional animal-based diet is made up of meat, mostly red meat, animal fats, dairy, fruit, and honey. Some folks, me included, will also add rice and potatoes. With potatoes, and especially rice, you're not going to get as many micronutrients as you would with fruit. So fruit is generally the superior carb source. If you're really active and you need a lot of carbs like I do, then rice and potatoes are a good way to fill in those extra carbs. However, I still make sure to have fruit every day. A lot of animal-based folks will also completely avoid vegetables. I don't do that. I think vegetables are okay. However, I don't prioritize them, and I really only have them for taste. So my rationale for this diet is that I feel the best and I perform the best when eating an animal-based diet. Back when I was eating a lot of processed foods, a lot of grains, a lot of seed oils, I would often feel like lethargic. I would crash throughout the day. It was pretty common for me to feel sleepy after eating a meal. But I found that when I follow an animal-based diet, I have consistent energy throughout the day and I don't really ever crash. I've also found that now that I'm eating properly and giving my body the nutrients that it needs, I don't really get the same sort of binge eating issues that I used to, and I've kind of lost all cravings for processed food. Like when I'm hungry, I crave a steak or some fruit or some cheese. Unless I'm absolutely starving, fast food and processed snacks just don't really sound appetizing to me anymore, which is awesome. I'm currently in the process of cutting, also known as a fat loss phase. I'm currently eating 3,000 calories a day and making sure I get at least 220 grams of protein. Carbs and fats are both generally between 150 and 200. However, I don't really care as much what those are exactly, as long as the total calories are around 3,000. 2 weeks ago when I started, I weighed 220 pounds, and I'm currently just below 215. But that's enough talking. I'm hungry. Let's eat. While there is some merit to eating carrots from a nutritional perspective, the main reason I have them is for the taste. Plus, they're super easy to cook. I can just throw them in the rice cooker with my rice. Today I'm cooking my rice in chicken stock because I'm all out of bone broth, but either one's a great option to enhance your rice. I'm also throwing in a 93.7 grass-fed burger that I cooked up yesterday. This has been a go-to meal of mine for a couple of weeks now. I love it. I eat it almost every single day. It's also really good if you mix in some raw egg yolk and some Parmigiano Reggiano. However, since I'm cutting, I'm leaving those out to save on calories a little bit. I'll also normally do a little fattier ground beef, something like 85-15, but the 93.7 has been awesome during this cut. All these carbs are gonna fuel a great lift on this beautiful Friday evening. Bon appetit. I love Olympic weightlifting as a sport on its own, but I also find it has a lot of great carryover to cheer. The most obvious similarity is that both require you to be explosive, extending through your legs, but they're also trained in a similar way, which I find helps with the mental gains. Both weightlifting and cheer require lots of repetition doing the same thing over and over and over again to perfect your technique. Both sports require you to be powerful, but also precise. Today was a snatch focus day, which is starting to become my favorite lift. I finished off with some heavier back squat walkouts and seated good mornings. Home from the gym, let's make some steak. The trick to getting a good sear on your steak is to pat it dry and salt it ahead of time. As you can tell by my shirt color, I did this earlier in the day. This gives time for the outside to dry out and for the salt to infuse throughout the steak. I normally just cook my steaks in their own fat, but this guy doesn't have a big fat cap, so I'm using duck fat. I recently switched to using cast iron as I learned that the Teflon in non-stick pans can release chemicals into your food that disrupt your hormones. Since this steak is pretty thin, it just needs a few minutes on either side. I plated it up with some fermented veggies and it looks absolutely absolutely beautiful. It's a good looking steak for sure, but let's see how it holds up in the taste test. Holds up very well. That is delicious. Red meat's really been demonized in the last few years, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Not only is it a great source of protein, but it is very dense with bioavailable micronutrients. Things that are vital to your mental health, your physical health, your reproductive health. Things like iron, zinc, selenium, potassium, retinol, various B vitamins. It really is a superfood. Last meal of the day, I'm having a glass of raw milk with a scoop of grass-fed, grass-finished beef protein isolate. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but if you're looking for a high-quality protein powder with no fillers or anything, check out Santa Cruz Paleo. I really like this stuff. So the reason I drink unpasteurized milk is because during the pasteurization process, yes, the bad bacteria get killed, but so do the good microbes that are good for your gut health and your immune function. If you are going to drink raw milk, make sure you get it from a trusted source because bad raw milk can make you very sick. That's why I only buy the good stuff. If you want to learn more about eating like this and meet like-minded people, check out my Discord server. I'll link it in the description. If you like this video, check out this one next where I talk about 75 Hard, a program that totally changed my outlook on life. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.